The stare. The eyes featured prominently in an engagement with another person. You look into someone's eyes to read them, to allow them to read you. You look away from someone in order to convey certain emotions. You fail to meet somebody's gaze to convey others. There is a specific use of the eyes in the narcissistic dynamic, and that is the stare. Ordinarily, staring at another person is considered to be rude and ill-mannered, although it may denote fascination and even infatuation. But even that stare from a besotted admirer may be regarded as rude, never mind the unending gaze of a passerby who cannot believe what he or she is witnessing. The stare, when deployed by our kind, takes on a different application altogether, and it manifests at different times during your engagement with us. 1. The stare in seduction. It is not used by all of our kind, but if you have been subjected to it, you will know it and you'll remember it well. It was the time when those brilliant blue eyes locked with your own eyes and stared deep inside of you. Those flashing emerald eyes appeared transfixed as they stared at you. The rich brown eyes which seemed to melt as they gazed at you, unwavering. Whatever colour our eyes are, when you first received that seductive stare, the colour seemed to become brighter. The light shone in them, and the intensity of our gaze was immense. It was not so much as being looked at, but rather an event in itself. Our steady stare was unusual, as you probably had not experienced it from anybody else previously. You wanted to look away, torn between a sense of discomfort, but the mesmerizing quality of our eyes kept you looking back into them. At that moment, our relentless gaze told you that you, and only you, mattered. There was nothing else of consequence in the universe. The background drained away, the surrounding sounds became muted, and all distractions were removed. We wanted to show you that our devotion to you was beyond anything else. Only by allowing us to stare at you for such a long time were we able to convey the depths of our apparent love, the vastness of our desire for you, the sheer scale of our need to be with you. Time slowed and then stood still. Your skin tingled from the experience of this tantalizing stare. Your breath caught in your lungs. Your face seemed to flush, and the wave of addiction washed across you, sending a shiver up and down your spine, around your neck, and twisting your stomach. In that instance, we became your universe, as we showed you the world in our eyes. Yet, what you really looked on as those two eyes continued to bore deep into you was yourself. We commenced this engagement by knowing that to stare at you for an unconventional length of time would make you feel both uncomfortable and captivated, so that you would then show us what was in your eyes. You would reveal to us your desire, your love, your hopes, your wants, and your dedication. All we did was mirror back at you what you showed us, amplified through the auspices of the mimicry for which we have become known. In that moment, as we held your gaze from across the table, or after that kiss, or as we lay on top of you, we showed you yourself, and thus sowed the seeds that caused you to fall in love with us. But in reality, you fell in love with yourself. That is why your love became something beyond anything that you had ever experienced before. That is why it was deep, powerful, and absolute, because your subconscious saw what it wanted to see, and this fired up powerful and immense responses in you. The world in our eyes, your world. We offered limitless possibilities through the promise that we mirrored back at you, and by keeping you in this gaze, we told you that we wanted you above anything and everything else. We wanted you. We wanted you. We wanted you. Number 2, the stare in devaluation. Neutrality. Prior to the devaluation proper, there is the stranger zone, where the person who once lit up your life becomes like a stranger, almost robotic. This is a change which occurs as a devaluation begins. It is not always present, as some of our kind move straight into the dark abuses of the devaluation from the off. But there is a precursor to this, when the person who once walked in with a cheery smile and a kiss just enters the room and sits down, devoid of any prevailing emotion. If you experience this, then you may also experience the stare at this juncture. This will be a hollow gaze, which is accentuated by the blank expression that accompanies it. It is not a look of confusion or misapprehension. It is not a look of dim-wittedness, but is instead the empty stare of an empty person. You are looking at the void that exists within all of our kind. This represents the crossroads. The seductive stare glowed, fizzed, and shone with the fabricated positive emotions which would cause you to respond with positive fuel. That has gone. The darkness of the devaluation has not yet commenced, and its drawing of the negative fuel. Instead, you are looking at the in-between. The eyes which are devoid of warmth or hatred, empty of passion or malice, just a blank stare which conveys the void within. This will cause you to become confused. It will have you ask whether everything is all right, and have you wondering what has happened. You will be mystified as to where those mesmeric and scintillating gazes have gone. Why are you no longer looked at with that piercing and uplifting look? Where have we gone? If we had a soul, it is as if it had been sucked from within us, leaving only the husk behind. You cannot complain that you are being badly treated, since no abuses have yet been deployed against you. This empty and robotic stare is a warning of what is to come, and should you see it in those you engage with, heed it and make good your departure, because it is signaling to you that a far worse stare awaits you. 3. The stare in devaluation, malice. This, perhaps, is the stare that most associate with our kind. When you are subjected to our malicious stare, our eyes darken, emphasized by the contortion of our features, which makes us appear like something else. The glowing greens, brilliant blues, and blissful browns have vanished. The glinting grey eyes are no more. The halcyon hazel has been banished, and instead dark and glowering black has taken their place. This gaze will cause you to shrink under its impact. This gaze will cause you to shrink back under its impact. The hatred that is embodied in the inky darkness will turn you cold, send ice through your heart, and is enough to even cause you to burst into tears. Terror will grip you, because when this stare is deployed against you, you are seeing the evil in our core, the pure, unadulterated hatred which we have for you. It is seething, dense, and vicious. It bears down on you, reminding you of your weaknesses and vulnerabilities. A blackened glare which keeps on driving at you, pressing down on you, forcing you to feel small and wretched. You may have caught the occasional malicious glance from us, just a flash of hatred, but that is something else. Those glimpses were warnings which could only be used for an instant to avoid detection by third parties, and the fracturing of the facade. This is a stare. Sometimes it may be accompanied by hissed words of threat and insult. Sometimes it is cloaked in silence, the balefulness a clear warning that a period of silence will now be visiting you. The person that you thought we were will be truly and utterly absent. Your world has been annihilated in an instant and replaced by two orbs of glinting black, which tell you that you are hated. Totally hated. Much worse will be visited on you in conjunction with this stare of concentrated evil. 4. The stare in the discard. This is perhaps witnessed if you are actually told of your discard. More often, it appears post-discard when you try to see us, to plead with us for answers, to beg us to take you back, and so forth. The stare is one of pure contempt, disdain and distaste for you. How on earth did we come to couple with one so weak, so pathetic and so disgusting as you? You make us shudder to think that we once even looked at you with favour, love and longing. The shame we feel at choosing someone like you is thrust to one side to be overridden by a contemptuous stare that is designed to weaken you in your tracks and tell you that in no uncertain terms we want nothing to do with you. We have someone far better. This stare is to urge you to keep away and to forbid you from reminding us that we once promised you the world. We do not want to remember such matters. Somebody else receives those promises now. You are an unfortunate reminder of a part of us which we prefer to keep locked away, and this stare conveys this through contempt and loathing. 5. The stare in the Hoover. The malign follow-up Hoover, as you would expect, applies the same approach as the malicious stare detailed above. Should we make contact with you for the purposes of trying to convince you to return to us, whether it is post-discard or post-escape, we will look to hold your gaze once again. This time those eyes of ours will shine again, but with hope, longing, and contrition. Vulnerability, sorrow, and remorse may appear to loom large in the rounded and pleading gaze which we now hold you in. Once more, this is pure artifice. All we are doing is mirroring what you show to us. The hope that we might have seen the error of our ways, the longing for us to come to the realization that we have done wrong. The sorrow for a person who must behave in this manner. The remorse that you engaged with someone so vile. The longing that you have for the golden period to shine once again. It is all manufactured as we mirror back to you what we see, but for the purposes of hoodwinking you once again. And with mealy-mouthed assurances and never-to-be-delivered promises, we hook you back into our grasp. The stare is a prominent weapon which we engage with you. It is a device that fabricates those emotions we do not possess, and allows you to see the reality of who you have entangled with when you look upon the emptiness and shrink from the malice.